the trough. As their trough, the amount of slop they're given is cut, they will squeal for higher taxes on the rest of the economy that's still operating while they get their slop cut at the same time. And even when they don't get any more slop, they still don't care because misery loves company. There's just especially in a large portion of people that are failures and who are collectivists and who are dependent types, they hate everybody that's successful. And the bankers know that. And so as long as we're all miserable, they'll be happy. And the globalists are the same way. So if you're tired of this and don't want these people speaking for you, you better occupy the Fed. And it all starts this Friday nationwide.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
This is a special alert from eFoods Direct. Silver just dumped to a 2-year low, and right now the stock market crashes and recrashes daily. What does that mean to you? When stocks crash, companies fail, jobs are lost, and you can't buy the already too expensive food. eFoods just got notice that wholesale costs on pasta, rice, and beans will immediately jump 20%. The all-time high cost of sugar is tripling. Those who tried to buy silver for security just lost a big piece of the food their silver might have bought before it crashed. So what are you going to do? Get as much food as you can. With these problems you're facing, eFoods Direct has no choice but to extend the free shipping another week to October 9th. Free shipping to October 9th buys more food with shipping dollars. Call 800-409-5633, 24 hours. Go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Call 800-409-5633 or efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Remember, you can bet your life on eFoods Direct.
Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As they're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
They have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today, it seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at prisonplanet.tv. Hi, folks. This is Alex Jones. I'm looking for people that have the wisdom to spot savings, opportunity, and recognize risk. Saving means to make money. The Cal Ben Pure Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated and twice as good as what you're using now. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils that contain no useless dyes, perfumes, deodorants, or antibacterials. Your risk is the hundreds of hazardous toxic detergents that give you rashes, itching sores, and deteriorating clothing called lint. If you want something better, if you want something you've never had before, you have to do something you've never done before. Getting a free catalog is easy by calling 800-340-7091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com. Take charge of your health now by calling 800-340-7091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com. Okay, I want to run through some of the other headlines, and then I'll continue to go through that as we go out of break and back into break throughout the rest of the broadcast today. But I do want to open the phones up, at least the first few rounds, to first-time callers today. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231. First-time callers, also people that at the end of the show in the last few weeks have been left on hold. You're also welcome to call in, and we'd love to hear from you if you had a question or comment that didn't have a chance to get on air with us. because of all the guests we've been having on and my long-windedness. I would love to hear from you. It is 800-259-9231. We're on a lot of new AM and FM affiliates across the country. If you're a new listener, including on stations in Canada, this is just a broadcast dedicated to freedom, dedicated to telling it like it is, dedicated to facing the real issues that actually affect our society. There is a global corporate consortium, a cartel, a combine of the Fortune 100 run by 6 global megabanks and their subsidiaries that openly are establishing a world corporate dictatorship where they write the laws and are exempt from their own laws. They call it the New World Order. And we are here attempting to wake the planet up to it. Instead of just generally protesting Wall Street with all the diverse companies and firms that have actually made this country great, predominantly, we're focusing in on the Federal Reserve private shareholders. We're focusing in on the people that Kennedy tried to take out of power in 1963 with an executive order to begin abolishing the Federal Reserve and to issue U.S. government notes, dollars. We have Federal Reserve dollars. They blew his head off. We are attempting to rally the planet against Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and others that are the private shareholders of the Federal Reserve who have stolen 27+ trillion of U.S. taxpayer money, more than 25 trillion of other nations' money, where they hold the entire world economy hostage and say, pay us direct taxes to the bankers, they call those bailouts, or we will implode the world economy. But you notice as you give in to them, and as the governments that are positioned and commanded by their alumni in that revolving door out of the central banks into government regulatory positions, and the presidents and prime ministers they finance into power, their traitors that they've positioned in government are setting up homeland security grids, police state grids in every country they dominate. They're setting up secret police, paramilitary groups to dominate and take our property, our land, our taxes. I mean, I just read to you earlier another article. It's in the New American. It's at Infowars.com. Paul Watson breaks it down and ties it into the Ugandan mass murders by World Bank UN forces last week. I'm tempted to go to Honduras, but they don't care. They would just kill me. But that would get attention on this. I mean, you've got to stand up against these UN forces. And they just go in and just line people up, men, women, children, blow their heads off. They don't even bother burying them now. And they say, it's for the earth. I come in peace, and then they blast you. As long as you say it's loving UN liberalism, then it's all fine. And we're all going under this system. And the UN was created by the big mega banks, created by the Pentagon, created by the Department of Defense in 1945 here in the United States. Not because America's bad, but because America got hijacked by this group. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231. I'd love to hear from you. But I was thinking this morning about the difference between one-dimensional thinking, two-dimensional thinking, three-dimensional thinking, four-dimensional thinking, and five-dimensional thinking. We can only really engage in five-dimensional thinking when we're asleep. I don't want to get into all the complex permutations of that system, but the brain is powerful. Most people naturally engage in two-dimensional thinking, but as you get older, you learn the third dimension. A poor, sweet little mentally retarded, mentally handicapped child who's 5 years old generally thinks that a drawing of a bird is a bird. But a 5-year-old who has a normal brain development, average brain development, would know if you told him, hey, the bird's tweeting, the bird's going to bite you, joking with them, they would say, that's not real. A 2-year-old, a 3-year-old would say that. But not a mentally retarded child. Most of them will not be able to tell. And the public has been put into a trance to keep you in really two-dimensional thinking. to where basically if the government shows you the image of a charging rhinoceros on TV, a lot of people are in suspended disbelief and basically allow their subconscious mind and even their conscious mind to see the charging rhinoceros as if it's real. And humans can artificially put themselves into really a two-dimensional mode of thinking. I'm trying to get people to live in the third dimension. That's where we live. We're able to calculate out to the fourth, even fifth dimension. Some quantum physicists even higher, if you really get your mind around this and these ideas and systems. But here's a simple example of third-dimensional thinking, and then I'll get to some news in your calls, versus two-dimensional thinking. Webster Tarpley was on InfoWars Nightly News last night. We had a good back-and-forth discussion. And he, of course, has said the euro was set up by the mega banks to consolidate Europe. And that's what they admit. That's a fact. And it's an undemocratic dictatorship of this private bureaucracy that is positioned by the big mega banks that's now setting up a pure dictatorship of the banking cartel where the EU has the member countries sign over all of their national sovereignty and agree to circumvent even the will of their people to that authority. So even if the Germans or the French or anybody else votes to get out, they're saying you can't now. You are actually occupied through the euro, which is the political power, by the financial power that sits above it. And that now is publicly promoted on Bloomberg, CNBC, Wall Street Journal. They say tyranny is what will save your pension funds in Europe and the U.S. Getting rid of the Constitution is what will save it. You see it in Newsweek and Time. And so they're dispensing now with even the talk of, this is to prop up people's welfare and the social safety net. They're going right to telling the middle class, go along with the tyranny and you'll still get your pension funds and your 401k and your stocks. Of course, you won't. They're setting that up to then steal all that from you as well. But a coward, when a bully faces them, will think, well, if I get down and let you spit on me and let you squat on me, then maybe it'll be okay. No, it's not going to be okay. By increment, we have basically been rolled in to servitude. Now, let me just briefly give you two-dimensional versus third-dimensional. About 7 a.m. this morning, I go to Infowars.com. Kurt Nemo's already posted last night's Infowars Nightly News that PrisonPlanet.tv viewers watched live and saw archived in higher quality. It's already posted to our YouTube channel. And I go and I see some of the comments. And I see a commenter on there saying, look at Tarpley and Jones contradicting themselves. They're saying that, the euro's bad, but that the globalists want to destroy the euro now and that we've got to keep the euro together. Which is it? Is the euro bad or is the euro good? They don't understand. It doesn't matter who builds a fortress. Just because the Romans build a fortress on the southern coast of Spain and then the Moors come across after the Roman Empire falls and they take half of Spain and they take that fortress and then later the Christians drive the Muslims out, the Moors out, and take over that fortress. It's a fortress. Like a gun or a car, it doesn't have a brain, it doesn't breathe, it doesn't think. It's neutral. It's like a hill. An enemy's coming. You try to get your force on top of the hill because it's better defended, and your enemy's got to come uphill against you. Again. And again, this is so simple. This is so incredibly simple, but it's also hard for people to be able to grasp two-dimensional versus three-dimensional.